Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We are back here joined live today by Haley Carbajal, and I think it's time we all get what we want. Why not? We deserve to. And as the creator of 5 Steps to Alignment, she's here to share, of course, her insight, her expertise, and how she helps so many people break those bad habits, live your purpose, and get what you want. How are you today, Miss Haley?
I'm doing absolutely phenomenal, Jill. How are you?
I'm doing great. Excited to be here. Always to see your beautiful face, your smile, your energy. And clearly, that's why you do so well because you really can resonate with people. You have a way about you as an intuitive, I don't know how I describe you, but there's a lot, right? So you're like a psychic
There's a lot.
medium, intuitive. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do at 5 Steps to Alignment.
Yeah, so by connecting to the highest sources of light and consciousness, I recognize my gift as a multidimensional medium, seer, and healer. And so by connecting to the highest sources of light and consciousness, I can perceive these psychological patterns in an individual and know the exact place from which it stems, where the behavior stems, where the pattern stems, and know exactly how to help you shift it. So I help with like fear, stagnation, and lack of direction so that you can align to your higher calling and to your soul's purpose.
And that's what you're doing today, right? At 5stepstoalignment.com. Go to FIVE steps to alignment.com. You could reach out to you there. Also, you're on other platforms and social media. Do you want to share?
Yes, Instagram at 5 Steps to Alignment, YouTube at 5 Steps to Alignment Official, LinkedIn is Haley Carbajal, and TikTok 5 Steps to Alignment. If you type in 5 Steps to Alignment or Haley Carbajal, I guarantee you'll find me.
And
You'll
on
find me
Patreon
somewhere.
too, right? There's a subscription
I do.
as well.
Yeah, so mentorship, spiritual mentorship and coaching for less than a Netflix subscription every month. We do a 90-minute live training workshop. We do a 25-minute multi-dimensional energy healing, and then we have a 90-minute live Q&A, and that is your opportunity to get that
Yeah.
really specific help that you need at a really, really phenomenal value.
Thank you for that. Now, also for today, what did you want to kind of dive into for our listeners?
I wanted to talk about how to leverage what we don't want to get what we do want, right?
Okay.
So this is why the law of attraction is kind of BS. Honestly, it's not kind of, it is BS. So here's the thing. We are always manifesting anyway. We actually are, we're just not conscious of it. And actually, we believe in our ability to manifest what we don't want rather than what we do want. Now, whatever conclusion you come to for the reason of that is up to you. But if you think about it, just think of this hypothetical
Mm-hmm.
scenario. Let's say that you're driving through traffic and you see somebody and you're like, oh, they're going to cut me off. And then they do. And you're like, see, I knew it. Or let's say you're at the grocery store and you're like, they're going to overcharge me for this thing, or this
Yeah.
person's going to be rude at the register. And it's like, and they were, it's like, see, I knew it. I knew it. So you're actually
Uh,
already manifesting anyway. It's just at an unconscious level. So how do we
yes.
use, it's so true. It's
Well,
so true.
my
Um,
example is this. Every time I leave like the Costco, which I love going to Costco, and there's a lane. You can make a left at the light. You can go straight at the light, or the right lane is a yield. And I don't think anybody on Long Island knows what a yield means. It means you yield, but some people choose to wait there as if it's a light. And I'm like, no, 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 you got to go because, and so I'm always so upset at that. And or as I'm coming around the bend, I'm like, I know some moron's going to be there, and I get all frustrated. And of course, it's always there. It's
yes,
always someone
because
stopped, and I'm like, should I not talk or think about it? How could I not? It's like it's already in my system because I know someone's going to be stopped there and not yielding and going.
See,
Sorry.
and you see, I love that. Thank you so much for
You're
sharing that,
welcome.
because that is a brilliant example of you believe something in your beingness to be true. And so therefore, that's why it happens, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure you'll benefit from this conversation. So we're always manifesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do we use what we don't want to get what we do want? Well, if we understand the full concept that we're manifesting anyway, this is simply about refining
Okay.
and becoming more conscious of what we're manifesting, because we really are doing it all the time, every day, all day. And so, anytime that you're exposed to or see something that you don't like or that you don't prefer, it's actually helping you to refine what it is that you don't want. Because how are you supposed to know what you do like if you don't know what you don't like, right? So, you know what colors look good on you when you go shopping, right? You know what colors to stay away from. The only way that you know that is because you've tried on the clothes or the colors that weren't flattering, so that you could go and find the clothes and the colors with certainty that are flattering. It's the same concept across the board. So, in this, being the, again, one of the most intelligent things you can do for your life is have discernment and be the observer, right? Be
Mm-hmm.
curious. Why is this occurring? So when these, what Abraham Hicks refers to as contrast, or when these things that we don't prefer come up, you can ask yourself, okay, so what is this showing me about myself, right? What is the underlying belief I have here that is making
Mm-hmm.
this come to be? And then lately, what I've been telling my clients to do is ask, so like, okay, this is what I don't prefer. People sitting at the yield sign is what I don't prefer. So then change it and say, okay, well, what is it that I actually do prefer? Sometimes we forget to give ourselves that option. It's like, because we're so focused on what we don't prefer, what we don't like, because we're trying to avoid it. But
Yeah.
in that, we're making it more, we're manifesting it more, right? And then, so just ask yourself, what is it that I do prefer? I do prefer
Yeah.
to move out of Costco freely and effortlessly. I do prefer to drive behind intelligent people, right? And so, but here's the nuance to that, okay? The reason people sometimes get caught, because what they believe more in what they do not prefer is going to happen more than what
Yes.
they do prefer, because of the evidence that's been placed in our lives. So that's where the reticular activating system comes in, right? So if you wake up thinking it's going to be a bad day, the reticular activating system, that part of the brain, is going to show you that belief that you're going to have a bad day. So let's say that it's not even around Costco, right? Let's just say you're pulling out of a parking garage somewhere and you notice the yield sign. And it turns out that you actually do drive behind somebody that has an IQ that's higher than 100 and, goes over, right? That is actually a moment that validates to you that you are manifesting what you want. Maybe it's not
Okay.
at the exact location, but you're breaking ground and moving in the right direction. And a lot of times we just let those slip by. It's just like, oh, that was just a coincidence. Or actually, more often than not, we're not even aware of it. We're not even aware that we got what we wanted. And then when you focus on what you do prefer, and you focus the ways that the universe is delivering what you prefer in your reality, don't let it slip by. Acknowledge it and anchor it in. You'll find that the paradigm will start to shift, and more often than not, you'll get what you do prefer. Now, that's why, too, it's so important to pay attention to the definitions and meanings and stories that you give to what you're going through, because this is how you truly refine it, right? So when that person is at the yield sign and you're at Costco and you're shaking your head and you're like, I should just stop saying these things,
Mm-hmm.
instead of it being like whatever the current story is that you tell yourself, what is the more higher vibrational, higher consciousness aspect to it? this is a validation to show you just how powerful you really are when you believe in something, even
Yeah.
if it's something that you don't prefer. This is an opportunity to experiment and play with how much control you actually do have over your life and your perspective. I don't know if you remember, but last week I told you on Mother's Day, my car, it was like all of these things, right? So I took it to the dealership, the Land Rover dealership on
Oh
Wednesday,
yeah,
and
we
it
talked
turns
about.
out I bought a warranty. Remember, I had to stay in that positive state, right? I was
Okay.
trying to extract the best outcome from it. Turns out it needs $7,000 worth of work. But I bought a warranty when I bought the car, and I'm still under the mileage, and I still have 7 months left on the warranty. So I'm more than it's all panning out right now. I'm waiting to get a call today, but based on the contract and what I'm talking with the dealership, I will only have to pay $250 for a $7,000 Land Rover repair. And that's not because I'm lucky. It's not because I'm lucky. It's not because I have this magic wand that I keep under my sleeve. It's because when this bad thing was happening to me, I knew that there was a higher purpose for it. So I was choosing to define it that
Yeah.
way so that my brain could perceive it that way. And therefore, that gave me that resourceful mindset to look into and remind myself of the warranty. This is not frou-frou spiritual stuff. Like, this is actual science-based human behavior constructs. You know what I mean? So when something bad is happening to you, or what you don't prefer is happening to you, just say thank you, because it's showing you what you don't want so that you can refine and simply ask for what you do want. And then the only thing you must do is, first of all, let go of the how, let go of the when,
Mm-hmm.
because our brain is not meant to be the process. It literally, if you think about it in a multi-dimensional aspect, this is why some people drive themselves crazy,
Mm-hmm.
because this is only meant to be the facilitator in receiving this external stimulus so the higher self can guide and direct you. We're not meant to pre-calculate, predict anything here. And the more we try to do that, the more we stress ourselves out. We all know what that feels like. If you just have trust, you say, this is what I do prefer, and then just believe in that. Even 1% more. It doesn't have to be full 100% Tony Robbins, let's do this, right? But like, if you could just believe in the thing that you want to occur, just 1% more than what you don't want to occur, and be open and receptive to the way that it comes to you, like rather like in a parking garage rather than the first
Okay.
time being at Costco, then you can see the
All right.
opportunity there. But you have to have that open mind and open perspective. And really, what I think that, whether you call it personal development, self-discovery, spiritual journey, whatever it is, really all we're doing here is releasing the things that we are not. That's all we're doing, because we already have who we are. We already have a knowingness, beingness, isness as to who we are. This is just about releasing the things that we are not. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's those negative beliefs. You never know where, the thing with the yield sign could have came from. It could have been one time you were driving in the car with your grandmother and she said something, and then it just was instilled in you for the rest of your life unconsciously. Like, these things can come in randomly. But and that's why I'm like, if an old belief comes up, just say, so what? Who cares? But again, I want to keep this clear and concise. So the way, all in all, wrapping this up, the way that you leverage what you don't want to get what you do want is to know that you are always manifesting anyway. It's not learning how to manifest, it's learning how to refine and become conscious of what it is that you want to manifest. And then when something occurs that you don't prefer, find the higher meaning, story, and definition as to what that is, and then ask yourself, okay, what is it that I do prefer? Or one question I love to ask myself is, if I could have it any way that I want it, how would I want it? And I am let myself be brave enough to answer that question and believe in it. And then just let it unfold without attaching to the how, without trying to predict how it's going to come to be, without trying to pre-calculate or manufacture it. Because again, the more that we try and hold on, the more it slips through our fingers,
Mm.
you know?
So what do we have to do? Help us.
Just be more conscious of what you do prefer. Just ask yourself, what do I prefer? What is it that I want? If I could have it any way I want it, how would I want it? I want to go out of Costco freely and effortlessly. And then just picture it in your mind for a second, feel it in your heart, because your heart is 5,000 more times more powerful electromagnetically than your brain. Feel that, just even if it's for a second, what would it be like to drive through and leave Costco freely and effortlessly? You would probably be like, oh my God, that's crazy. I can't believe that just happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you just place your focus there. And anytime you feel yourself start to wander, like wander back, and you're like getting ready to pull out of the parking space, you're like, here it comes, and you catch yourself doing it. So what? It's okay. It's just a preconditioned way of being and thinking, and say, my preference is this, and then give it time. Because in this density, in this reality, we do have a time lag here. So just because it doesn't happen right away doesn't mean that it's not happening. And again, what other aspects of your life are already showing you that what you want is coming in?
Got it. Remind us, Hallie, how we can contact you before we continue.
Yeah. So 5stepstoalignment.com. You can reach me on Instagram at 5steps2alignment. And if you wanted to work with me, I have a Patreon. I offer a membership for less than a Netflix subscription for spiritual mentorship and coaching.
All right. Thank you so much. What else do we have in store for us? We still have 8 minutes left in the show, so we do have
Did you
definitely
want
time.
me? Did you want me to elaborate on
Yeah.
anything? Did you have any
Well, I
questions?
I just I love how my Costco reference about that person who pulls up to the yield lane and never yields. It just turned it sort of cycled into this. Thank you for that. I'm going to start changing my mindset when it comes to that, and I will start believing, and I believe in time. I think I can get over it, and I think I'll have better outcomes, and the people will know how to drive.
Yeah. Well, and see,
But
that's
thanks
the
for
thing.
taking my my story today.
It was divine. It was absolutely divine. See, it was divine.
Mm,
So that's the thing here too. So yes, we have to, because the thing is that you've already created momentum towards this one thing.
okay.
So let's just say that you've been shopping at that Costco for the last year. Okay.
Okay.
Sometimes it can be miraculous based on the belief that we have in this new thing, or the desire that we have for this new thing. But if you're like, let's see, if you're just kind of like, let's see what happens,
Well,
you
let's.
have to remind yourself that you are just starting to change the momentum that you've
Mm-hmm.
already created. It's like that whirlpool example that I give, right?
Yeah.
The current's
Yes.
going one way, so give it a second. Put in a little bit of effort. You're going to be met with a resistance at the beginning, and then eventually the tides will change. And then there's this other part of, call it manifestation, call it changing your reality, whatever it is. But we also do have these things called echoes in our life. So let's say that for the next 6 weeks, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just flying through this yield side. It's working the way it's supposed to, right? And then all of
Yeah.
a sudden the next time it's like the week 7, and you go and you're back at the yield sign with that person who doesn't know how to yield, right?
Same
You'll be
thing.
like, wait, what happened? Did I do
Mm-hmm.
something wrong? Am I out of alignment? And it's The answer is no. You're not out of alignment. The answer is that that is simply just an echo of the old reality, of the old momentum, of the old mindset. And if you choose not to let this echo essentially infiltrate all the progress that you've made, then you can fly by the next 6
Yeah.
weeks again without having that issue. See, sometimes we feel like we're taking a step back, or
Mm-hmm.
that we lost our flair, or that we lost this manifestation, I don't know what the word is, this flood of manifestation or this effortless manifestation, because an echo of the old reality comes in, because it's still rippling out. The water takes time for the ripples to leave, right? And so we're like, oh man, I've done something wrong, I'm out of alignment, I'm blocked, I'm this, that, and the other thing. And then the universe is like, when you say I am anything, the universe says yes. You're like, okay, you're blocked again. And then we unconsciously sabotage ourselves in the midst of an echo to think that we're actually backtracking, when in reality it was just an echo. And if we let it go and said, this is still what I prefer,
Yeah.
then we're moving more towards what we prefer.
Sounds so simple. I feel so motivated every time I talk to you. And I hope people hear your voice and hear what you have to say and then really get started with the process. And what is the process to even work with someone like you? Could you share a little insight to, how many months of a program, what's the accountability factor? How often are you meeting?
Yeah. So right now, I have the Patreon offer. I'm working out my one-to-one. So right now, I have a few clients that I'm seeing one-to-one. I'm very specific about who I work with. And I just want to say this, total disclosure, because I'm not here to work with people who are going to use the excuses and the limitations to keep them in a closed loop. I've done that before. I am here to only work with those who are serious about changing their life and applying the strategies, whether it be something that you resonate with or what I talk about. Either way, I want you to be applying something. And if you're really hungry for that change, then I will work with you one-to-one. And we have like a system in place there. But if you just wanted a taste of what it is that I do and how I can help you, that's where the Patreon subscription comes in. That's, like I said, the 90-minute workshop. We also leave a little bit of time for Q&A after that, so we can practically apply
Okay.
it to you. The multidimensional energy healing, and then the live Q&A once a month as well. So for $7 a month, I think that's very, very, very valuable. But if you wanted to work with me one-to-one, it'd be like a consultation to just kind of make sure it's a good fit for both of us.
Of course, of course. And the work that you're doing, do you want to share any inspirational story about someone who kind of went through this process and has overcome it, and like me, hopefully one day? Do you have another example that you want to share of someone that you've worked like with this?
Yeah, let me find the right one.
And
So
well,
with
oh, go ahead.
go no, what were you gonna
No,
say?
I was gonna eat up the time and tell the website again, 5steps to alignment.com. Go ahead.
In regard to manifestation, because I work with a lot of people, helping them with many different things.
Hmm.
So the one person that's coming to mind, she's actually a part of my Patreon.
Okay.
And we did a money manifestation training, and literally that day she got $2,600 deposited into her bank account
Whoa.
because of the training that we did. Yes,
All
I'm
right, that's
actually
impressive.
that's that is and actually that training is for sale on my Patreon as well currently.
And tell us
um
how we get there. My goodness, this is a good story.
that um I'm just starting to learn to use Patreon, so forgive me.
That's okay.
On my website, you will find my Patreon link, and through there, you will find my shop. It's on my Patreon shop, and you could just purchase the digital product. It's $11.11, and you get a 43-minute training, the same training that she got that got her to manifest that $2,600.
Got it. Ooh. All right. How do we find this page?
5stepstoalignment.com. You'll see on my website, it says something to the effect of become a part of the Patreon community or the ascending community. And even if you go onto Patreon and type in 5 steps to alignment, you'll find it there too.
Got it. All right. Well, thank you so much. Always a pleasure to have you here, and all your insight is always appreciated. I'll let you know how my next trip to Costco goes, okay?
I would love to hear that. Yes, I would love to
It'll
hear that.
probably be before we meet next week because I always go. All right. Thank you again for being here. We appreciate your time.
Yes, thank you, Jill.
All right. Have a great day. And to all of our listeners, stay tuned. We'll be right back with more.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.